At the end of this video, we'll take a look at Mad Ramp's innovative pivoting ramp system, the safer, easier way to transport your ATVs and snowmobiles. Stick around. Before we begin, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our friends at the historic Lancaster Motel in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Lancaster Motel has been serving snowmobilers since the 60s, and they are the perfect eastern trail riding destination for snowmobilers young and old. The Lancaster Motel is right on Corridor Trail 5 in Lancaster, New Hampshire, with plenty of parking for vehicles, sleds, and trailers. Plus, the Lancaster Motel is within walking distance of Crane's Snowmobile Museum, plus restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and more. Click the link in the description to learn more about the Lancaster Motel. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here tonight. I've got a full lineup of Vintage Snowmobile entertainment just waiting here for you tonight. In a moment, we're going to have Josh Gilbert on. But before we do, I want to make sure everything is working properly. So if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to make a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you're viewing this from. Let me know whether you're a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. And to our first-time viewers here tonight, I thank you so much for giving us a chance, seeing what we're doing. I hope that you like what you see and that you'll decide to join us every week. We're on here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And to our regular viewers, for instance, Bombard, Floyd, and Lisa. These guys are on here every single week. I thank you guys so much for coming on and being a part of this. It really makes this thing work, and it just means a lot that you're on here every week. I will ask you a small favor. Anyone who's watching this, if you're enjoying it, if you could share this on your profile or on a friend's profile, if someone who you think that might enjoy this, or you could send it to them as a private message. Oh, yes. They're saying hello to Diane Baker, my tongue is in a knot tonight, folks. I apologize. But Diane Baker is a future Hall of Famer in the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. And we are getting a load of comments tonight. Let's get right to them. Mark Sundin is on. We've got Nick Kfez. He's a regular viewer, loud and clear from Burt Lake, Indian River, Michigan. Dave Novak is on, first-time viewer. Thanks for coming on, Dave, from Maple City, Michigan. We have Dominic and Anthony Kane, first-time viewer from Michigan, and the snow is coming down. Glad to hear it. We've got regular viewer John Spranger Jr. on. He is a regular on the show, and he's got 9 inches of snow today in central Wisconsin. The trails are finally open. He says we look great and sound great. Well, that is good to hear. We have Jamie Whitaker on, second-time viewer listening from Williamsburg, Ontario. We've got my good friend Steve Dickinson on. Thanks for coming on, Steve. We've got to get Steve on the show one of these days. He's got an amazing collection. You guys are going to just love to see. He's a big cat guy, as am I, by the way. Loud and clear, Bombard 317, Lake George, New York. That's the home of the Mini Haha. I was on that many, many years ago. Scott Verdon, regular viewer from Michigan. George Zandbelt, coming in loud and clear, Winchester, Ontario. Michael Mangine from Pennsylvania. Thanks for coming on, Michael. Craig Stahl from Washington State, out west. Outstanding. Ben Burke from Reno, North Carolina. Reno, Nevada. Okay, correction there. Alden Banks from Bristol, New Brunswick. Our good friend Brian Robillard from Putnam, Connecticut. I've got a video that he shared with me. We'll be looking at a little later in the evening. But Brian is a good friend of this program. He's a regular contributor, and we really appreciate that. My girlfriend Carlene Perry is on, saying I'm doing a great job. Thank you, Carlene. We've got Ben Burke on. Just got 71 inches in Reno, Nevada. Is that a typo? 71 inches? Could that be 7 inches or 17 inches? 71 inches. That sounds like a lot. That's 6 or 7 feet, isn't it? Frank Falcone from Alvin, Texas, represented. Outstanding. Stacy and Art Fozier, regular viewers, heading to Tug Hill, New York this weekend. Outstanding. Pat Lima, 5th time on here from Southeast Missouri. We've just got a few more to go here, and we're going to get right to Josh, who's waiting for us. Justin Whitman from Buckley, Michigan, getting ready to rip tonight. Give a rip for us, too, if you would. A midnight run. Outstanding. Brian Abrams from Lake George, New York, back for more beautiful vintage sleds. And we've got Ben Burke. Yes, sir, 71 inches, he said. That's an amazing amount of snow. Crazy. True West Coast snow, he says. Now, we're going to get to Josh Gilbert, but I will keep these comments going as Josh is on. And as Josh is talking to us, please ask questions if you have any. Let me get him on here so we can, he's got some show and tell for us. How you doing there, Josh?
Good, how are you?
Good. I really appreciate your coming on tonight. Now, when we were talking a little early, we had a little bit of a delay. I don't know if we still have one or not, but delay or not, we're going to try to work through it. I'm going to give you the floor, Josh. Let you show us what you have there.
Yeah. Awesome. Just want to start by saying thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to promote my little program I got going here. Facebook group, Northwest Vintage Snowmobile Classifieds, and it's a fairly new group. And my goal here is to try to keep vintage snowmobile racing alive out in the West Coast. It's the last few years, it's kind of stepping back up, but there was a pretty good lull for about 20 years, and I just don't want to see it die again. So my goal is to, keep all these old sleds out of the scrap yards and, provide parts for all of our local racers. And I planning on helping out with some youth programs here. We've got several youth riders that, we want to keep them going up through the classes. So my plan here is to, in the next couple of years, get a bunch of good groups together, do some raffles, provide, funding for some of these kids, provide some sleds. I've already pulled a whole bunch of sleds out of junkyards, done a lot of restoring on them, trying to get them out to the kids to race. And, redone quite a few sleds here in the last 2 years. I'm fairly new into the racing, on my 3rd year, but really, as all you guys know, it's very addictive. So I've built quite a quiver of sleds here now. And we have a really good race program up here. I'm actually up at Priest Lake is where I live. We have a race program. It's called the Vintage Snowmobile Racing Priest Lake. They have their own page. You guys should check that out. Unfortunately, this year, all of our races were canceled due to the COVID restrictions because we are on federal land. But my plan here is on the 20th, I will be racing in Grey Eagle, Minnesota. Then after that, I'll be in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. So that'll be fun, kind of a trip for us. A few of the racers here are all going to go down, and we're really looking forward to it.
Wonderful.
But got a few sleds here. If you guys want to check them out.
Yes, absolutely. And while you're turning that around,
Here in my
Josh,
race
I'm going to
trailer
put a
now.
graphic
So
up so
here's
people
my
can see the Facebook group that you have. It's a really good Facebook group. If you like vintage sleds, do check that out. And he's got his camera turned around, so I'm going to give the floor back to him. By all means, continue, Josh.
All right, so this is my IFS sled that I'll be racing here in Minnesota next week. It's a 1980 TXL 340 chassis, fully modified, kind of into a cloned RXL. A lot of work was done to this. I actually bought this out of Michigan here last year. I'll be out testing it on the local lakes this weekend. Sled really hooks up and rides nicely, but really enjoy this sled.
Yeah, that's a really sharp looking sled.
It's a fully modified Flannery engine. That's a fully modified Flannery engine with Troy Pierce pipes and a bunch of Troy Pierce work done to it. So looking forward to running this one. But I also run a few. I'll turn around here. Here's all my stalkers and some projects. Like my kid runs this little 120. He was looking forward to racing this year. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But
sure,
next year is another year. And then I got an Enticer, an Exciter, then Project TX, and then a TNT that I was turning into a oval sled. Kind of quit on that when the races got canceled. I'll get back to it.
Sure.
My spare RXL hood back here.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and then back in the race trailer here. That's pretty much what I have.
Yeah, that's really nice, Josh. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Yeah, that's cool stuff. So how long did you say you've been racing? You're racing the whole circuit basically across the northern US or the Midwest and the West, or?
Well, I've raced once in Oregon this year so far, and then everything else has been canceled. So I'll be heading to Minnesota on the 20th to race 2 races there, 2 weekends back to back.
Yes.
And then one of my race buddies just got back to Eagle River. He raced in the World Championships and won his class in 300 super mod. So he'll be at Minnesota as well.
Nice. Yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck with that. That's really exciting. And when are you heading for Minnesota?
Yeah, thank you.
You're out west now, right? Are you in Washington or Oregon or?
I am northern Idaho.
Idaho.
Very tip of Idaho,
okay,
on the Canadian border. So we'll be, my trailer and sled will be leaving here on the 15th and heading that direction. I'm flying there on the 18th.
Gotcha. And I'm sure you probably told me already that you're in Idaho, but the audio is kind of cutting out and there's a bit of a delay. And I apologize both to you and to our listeners and viewers that we're having trouble with the audio, but it's still nice to have you on and see what you've got there. You get some really nice sleds.
Well, thank you.
Well, cool. And before we finish, I'll just put that graphic up again of that Facebook group that you're doing. And I encourage people to visit his Facebook group. There's a link to it in the description. By all means, check him out. If you want to look at sleds for sale and sleds wanted or want to post in there, it's a great place to post some vintage sleds. But go ahead, Josh. Were you about to say something?
Oh, yes. I was just going to let everyone know that these races will be live on Central Minnesota Pond Racing's Facebook page, too, if anybody wants to watch.
Yes. I've been carrying that feed sometimes. Yeah, that's great. That's good. You're going to be a part of that. And when you see Mike Mahar, do tell him we said hello. He's a good friend of ours. He's a good friend of this program.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, he's a great guy, isn't he?
Perfect.
And we'll have him on this program at some. Well, cool. Well, yeah, I thank you so much for coming on, Josh, and I wish you the very best with your racing career, both this year and years to come.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
All righty. All righty. Well, that was Josh Gilbert, and it was really nice to have him on the program. And I'm on the wrong screen. Here we go. Let's take a look at our menu for what we have tonight. We've got a few announcements, and then we're going to look at Louis Lund being inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame in the year of 2018. So let's take a look here at the announcements. Wanted to let you know that we do offer advertising on this program, and we have packages as low as $299 per month, and you can be on here every single week. We'll show some graphics. All you have to do is supply me with graphics, digital images, and we'll talk up your business on each episode and give you some good exposure for your business. If you're trying to market to vintage snowmobile enthusiasts, this could be a really nice marketing avenue for you. So let's get into some announcements here. We have Craig Stahl sent me these images earlier today, and he's wondering what would be the value of this 1978 Arctic Cat Panther. So if you have an idea of what the value of this might be, please leave a comment. In fact, I want to get caught up on our comments here. Yeah, Jean-Noel Champagne says 15 inches of snow in Quebec City. That's great news. Christian Mangines got a 1980 Ski-Doo. We'd love to have you on sometime if you're interested. Steve Riasek says remake old Yamaha race parts. You'll make a killing. Robert Leclerc, are you looking to buy a Ski-Doo? I'm not, but I'm sure somebody is. If that makes me think of that, Robert. I'm glad you posted that, because if people have items for sale or items wanted, feel free to post it in these comments and check in every few days, because this podcast not only airs live, but it lives on for maybe a week or so to come. People continue to find it on the internet, and do come back and check the comment section of this video, and you may find that someone has responded to one of your posts, or you may see things on there, someone looking to buy or sell an item that might be of interest to you. Robert Leclerc, am I from Canada? Oh, that's a good question. I'm on the Canadian border. I can literally throw a rock into Canada. I'm on the Vermont-Quebec border in Derby Line, Vermont, and I am both a dual and a dual citizen of the U.S. and Canada. All my relatives are from Canada. So yes and no would be the answer to your question. Joe Makowski is here from Thompson, Connecticut. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate your coming on, Joe. All right, let's look at some more of the announcements here. We have, oops, I forgot to remove that last comment. We've also got Dominic Anthony Kane, Northway Parts wanted in Michigan. Send him a message. Cool deal. All right, so back, I'm sorry, I'm bumbling around here in the interface. Craig Stahl was also asking what might be the value of this 1984 Motoski Mirage 2. So if you have a sense of what something like that might be worth, just post in there in the comments what you think that might be worth, and Craig will love to see that. Now, we've also got some snowmobiles for sale. Now, these are snowmobiles for sale by the owner of Crane's Snowmobile Museum. These are snowmobiles that were on display in the museum, and he's looking to sell a couple of them. He's got a Arctic Cat Panther there at the museum, and he's got an older Polaris, one of the early rear-engine snowmobiles for sale. You see the number on the screen there. Just call and ask for Paul Crane. He's the owner of the museum at 603-443-7272. Now, we also have an update. You may remember from a couple of weeks ago, we had Remy on here. He was talking about his campaign to bring back the Ski-Doo Elan. Well, Remy has an update for us. He's been in touch with the people at Ski-Doo, and they replied to him. This is a screenshot of the letter they wrote him, or the email they wrote him. It's in French, but he translated it for us. It says, "Hello, this is just a note to confirm that Mr. Boisjoli has passed your idea on to the product planning group. Someone should be back in touch with you in the next few weeks. Best regards." So this is in play now. You never know. We may just convince Ski-Doo to bring the Elan back, which I think would be a great idea, to have a low-price sled that's agile and can go just about anywhere. As much as we love those powerful long-tracked powder sleds, those things are a lot of money and they're really heavy. And I think there's a place in the lineup for a low-priced, lightweight, agile Ski-Doo to bring back the Elan, whether they retool the last model of the Elan, the 95 or the 96, or if they start from scratch with a modern interpretation of an Elan. Either way, I'd love to see it. One last thing about Remy and his Elan. We had a look at his Elan when he was on a couple of weeks ago. He's since put some new graphics on it. Check out the new graphics he's got on his hood of that Elan. How cool is that? Let's check the comments here real quick. Get caught up on comments. Doug Reinstra from Dixon, Illinois. I think Doug's been on here before. Thanks for coming on again, Doug. Robert Leclerc Roofing. Cool deal. Do a search for that online if you're curious about it. Yes, Dominic says bring back the Elan and the Honda three-wheelers. Definitely. Cool deal. Now, what else would we have for announcements? Also wanted to let you know that sadly, let me remove that graphic. Sadly, the Crane Snowmobile show that was scheduled for this Saturday, the 6th, has been canceled due to COVID, which is a real bummer. Really sad to see that, but we totally understand. We have to do what we have to do with COVID and everything. But do keep that in mind for next year. This is one of the great vintage snowmobile shows of the East, and they have it the first Saturday of February every year. It's in Lancaster, New Hampshire, and if you're planning to come to this show, you want to stay at the Lancaster Motel in historic Lancaster, New Hampshire, which is just a short walk from the show. Now, the show is just outside the museum, so you've got all of the sleds that the exhibitors have brought over to view. Plus, you can go inside the museum and look at the sleds in the museum as well. It's a heck of a day. It's a lot of fun. So let's get back to the program here. We're going to look at Louis Lund being inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Here we go.
Mr. Louis Lund. Inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame 2018. Raced only one time in a USSA race in 1970 when he began competing on a big 3-cylinder Polaris 650 Starfire in 1971. Raced in both Mod 4 and Mod 5 on a Mod 4 sled. He wore number 9 and number 10 bibs during his racing career. Won in both Mod 4 and Mod 5 events at Cumberland, Maine on a day that didn't go above 26 below zero. Louis missed winning in Mod 4 at the 1971 World Series in Boonville, New York by just 2 seconds behind Jim Burnett. First year racing. Was invited to join Team Chaparral as a test pilot, working closely with Bobby Unser on the development of their revolutionary independent front suspension system for 1972. There's not a sled built today that doesn't have an IFS suspension. And that gentleman right there was the first guy to ride one. Louis was clocked at 115 miles an hour while racing the new IFS-equipped Mod 4 Chaparral at mile-long Scarborough Downs. The track, unable to withstand such speeds, blew apart. He raced his Chaparral to wins in both Mod 4 and Mod 5 at Bangor in 1972. Louis was well known as one of the most colorful and exciting racers to watch during this bygone era.
Okay, now it's time for the story, I think.
Tell a story.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
If I might. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to say thank you for coming today. A special thanks to my wife, Joyce, twin daughters, Joan and June, my son, Leonard, along with my 8 grandchildren and 2 great-grandkids, Aurora and Andrew, 2 little downs. And also thanks to Paul Graham, and Midge for all they have done. I'll get set here in a minute. To promote snowmobiling and for recognizing us snowmobilers. Just want to thank you two so much. It's just without you doing this, we'd be still in the closet somewhere. I want to thank Bob Clark, our race director, for all of his guidance, really do, and for keeping us on the straight and narrow, or at least trying to. I couldn't forget our great friend and competitor, Conrad Rollins, who passed recently. He also supported anyone who needed help. His shop doors were always open to any team or individual. He was a true professional racer. It was an honor to compete with him, and I know his spirit is with us all.
He's right here today. You can't see him. He's right here.
It's been a privilege to have raced with so many good guys. A special thanks to the two competitors, Gerald Merrill and his wife Joni, and Nelson Taylor and his wife Sheila, who raced actually right on the team through my class and stuff. So right with us all the time. I also want to thank Bill Kane. I wouldn't have this. Let me tell you this story. Anyone knew my dad, everything leads to a story. But anyway, I got invited to do the racing. I was racing for Dick Wilkie, just a little private dealer in Harvard, Mass. And doing mostly drag racing then. And I wanted to do racing, I guess, and had a little bit of good luck. So I got a call from Harrington King who wanted to know if I was race for, he was a distributor for players, for them through the back by the factory. So he wanted me to come down and meet with him. So, when a guy's young, I guess he gets a little cocky and stuff. Maybe I was. So anyway, the talking told us what they would do and the support I was getting stuff. And I said to him, when I was walking out the door, I turned around and I said, I'll tell you something. If I race for you, and you're Mr. Bill King, I want to be called Louis the King. I win some races. So anyway, so a special thanks to Bill King for his support and stuff. I owe a special thanks to all the fans who followed our racing, and there was a lot of them for all the guys that put on the show, and we want to thank them so much. Their support is really appreciated. I also want to say, Jim and Alicia, they'll be watching this from a distance, and I missed you today. So I told them I would say that, so they thought they had to be somewhere else. I always felt at home when I came to Lancaster. Anyone who knew Mr. Monahan's shop, the shop was always open to our team. They invited us in.
Oh, God.
So,
We made some good friends.
yeah, we thank you. And then a little bit of nostalgia. At a race held in 1971, I won't say where, New Hampshire, I got a little aggressive. I think for the first and only time. And according to my recollection, I owe an apology to a gentleman. It seems that I bumped Carol Reynolds' sled, and imagine, I still get razzed about it whenever we meet. It was all in fun, really. Carol was a great competitor, seriously. He added a lot to the sport, and he's a class act. Stand up, Calvin. See why I admitted to it. That's the first time I admitted to it. When you see, I always shied away from it. I didn't know. That's what sport he is. He took it all in fun. Great guy.
It's just racing.
In closing, I am very honored to be inducted into the Snowmobile Hall of Fame, and it is a privilege. Thank you all for the great friendships and memories.
Well, there you have it. The great Louis Lund has been inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. That was from 2018. Now, a couple of things to note about that. You heard them talking about he was the one to test and to help develop those first IFS front suspensions, the independent front suspensions. I managed to catch him for an interview after that day, where we went into some depth about what that experience was like, what it was like to drive those sleds. And I asked him whether or not he thought when he first tried those, even in the crude stages, whether or not he thought that might be the future of snowmobiling. Of course, it turned out it was, but you'll see in the interview on a future episode where we get in some in depth talking about that. Also, that very tall gentleman that stood up, Cal Reynolds, he is a class act, as Louis said. I've met him numerous times, and he was inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame that same year. In a future episode, we're going to show Cal Reynolds' induction as well. So that's something you have to look forward to. Now, this Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame is really catching on, and I hope that you'll come to join us for the next ceremony. Here are some details about the next ceremony. It's going to be at Crane's Snowmobile Museum in Lancaster, New Hampshire on Saturday, September the 11th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, right there in Lancaster. Now, a couple of things if you're planning to join us with this, and we would love to have you join us. You want to show up a little bit early because you want to have time. This ceremony is at Crane's Snowmobile Museum. So if you show up early, you'll have time to go in the museum and spend some time in there. Take your time, walk around, look at all the sleds. There's over 100 sleds in there, so it's going to take you a little while. That's why you want to get there a little early. You'll also have a chance, if you come early, to mix and mingle with inductees, past, present, and future. You do not want to miss that. That's a whole lot of fun. You can get your pictures taken with them and shake their hand and ask them questions and hear some of the stories as they talk to each other. It's just a wonderful time. The other thing you want to do if you're coming to this is you want to bring lawn chairs. Bring your own lawn chairs because the chairs are not provided. It's just a big open area, so bring your own lawn chairs. Now, if you're coming from any distance for the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony, no other place to stay than the Lancaster Motel. Is just walking distance from the ceremony. And after the ceremony, they have the after party right there at the Lancaster Motel. So everything moves over to the Lancaster Motel, and as that after party winds down, you're just a few steps away from your room where you can go and retire for the evening as the whole thing winds down. It's just a great time, and I hope that you will consider joining us for the next ceremony. It really is a great time if you like vintage snowmobiles, and especially if you're interested in the history of snowmobile racing, especially as it pertains to the East. So what else have we got here? Up next is Brian Robillard's footage from Hobbs Vintage Snowmobile Show. Now, Brian Robillard, if you watch this show on a regular basis, is a good friend of this show. He was the first person to come on here live, and he's going to be coming on here sometime real soon. He's got some more sleds to show us. He happened to be at the Hobbs Vintage Snowmobile Show last weekend in Ossipee, New Hampshire, and he was kind enough to take some footage for us. So let's take a look at that footage he got.
This is Brian Robillard here at the 2021 Hobbs Vintage Snowmobile Show. Good, how are you?
This kid's a leader. They're in the tunnel.
Yes, so thank you so much to Brian Robillard for sharing that footage. That was really nice footage, and we appreciate your thinking of us to do that. And Brian's going to be on here sometime either next week or the week after, sometime very soon. He's got some more sleds he wants to talk to us about, and I'm really looking forward to having him on. Now, what else have we got? We've got Richard Papusek's John Deere Spitfire. Let's take a look. Now, this is footage that was shared by Richard with me a few years ago for another project I was doing. He talks about this sled as being for sale. Keep in mind that this was 2017, so this sled has probably been long sold, but it's still a really nice example of a John Deere Spitfire. Let's take a look.
Well, good evening from the sled shed again. What I'm bringing you tonight is a 1978 John Deere Spitfire. I did this sled. I was going to give it to my sister. She wanted a snowmobile, but I did this one in a Trailfire, and she ended up taking the Trailfire. So I've got this Spitfire right here. Some of the things I did to this sled, as you can see, it has a brand new custom fitted seat cover. I did put in new old stock attack and speedometer, so it only shows 5 miles. It has a good on and on kill switch and dimmer switch. Usually those are kind of bad, but these are good. Has a new gas cap. I put in a new choke linkage on it. Put on some new NGK spark plug caps. Has a brand new windshield. And in this sled, I did put all new graphics on it. This sled does have the original paint though. So you're going to see some scratches on the footboards. A few scratches on the hood. Not too bad. That's why I didn't repaint it. Kept it original. But it does have some gravel rock chips up on front. It must have been towed on a trailer once down a gravel road. So it does have some rock chips on the front end. I did repaint the skis. Has brand new wear bars on it. Has all the original reflectors on it. You can see back here, here's your red reflectors. I believe I did put a new pull handle on it. Has a new John Deere snowmobile keychain. Has a very good grab bar. Original snow flap. Tail light that works. All works. We're going to open it up here and show you the inside. This does have the Mikuni Butterfly carb on it. 340 Kohler engine in it. I did put a new old stock John Deere belt on it. We'll come around here. As you can see, it has the new drive for the speedometer along with the cable. All new blue gas lines. Has the shut-off fuel filter. I did clean this carb. 2 times I cleaned it. Make sure it's running right. Has the original air box on it. Can't say much more. I did paint the exhaust so it looks good. Otherwise, this sled evidently doesn't have a lot of miles on it. I didn't know because Spitfires normally never come with a speedometer, but I would say it's a low mileage South Dakota sled. I'm going to do a startup for you here in just a bit. It's got nice hood hold downs here. As you can see, the graphics are bright and clean. My graphic guy did a really nice job. Put a new striping on the bumper. The bumper is nice and straight. It's just an overall good sled. I'm going to set the camera down here and I'm going to do a startup. I probably won't rev it up, but you'll see how good it starts. Seems like this sled, one pull and it starts. These Kohlers are really a rock solid engine in it. It has a good pull start on it. Like I said, all the lights work. The gauges have lights in them. They're just a fun little sled. I have one of my own that I use for my own. And I even toyed with keeping this sled, but decided I just have too many snowmobiles, so this is going to be on eBay. But as you can see, there's a little bit of wear on the tunnel here from the legs, but it does have the new striping. So it's just a good survivor sled. As you can see, it's not all beat up. These Spitfires normally got really beat up. They got used and abused. But this one is really a nice shape. If you're looking for a John Deere Spitfire, you probably won't find a better one. Give you one more shot here, but thanks again from the Sled Shed.
Yes, that is a really nice example of a John Deere Spitfire, and I thank Richard for sending me that footage. And I got a phone ringing off to the side here, but we will carry on. Now, as you've seen, people send me footage. Brian Robillard was kind enough to send me that footage from the Hobbs Vintage Show. Also, Richard sent me that footage a few years ago of that John Deere. If you've got footage you'd like to send me, I would love to see it, and I would love to share it on the program. You'll see my email address there at the bottom of the screen. Anything like that you've got to share that I could share with this audience, please send it to me. I'd love to share it on the program. Now, I do ask one thing if you're sending footage. Let me get the graphic here and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Where is that graphic? If you're taking footage, please, please, please be sure to hold the camera horizontal for a wide shot like you see here. It's really difficult to edit and work with vertical footage. If you're holding your camera vertically to take video, it's really hard to work with that. A lot of times I can't work with it, and I'd hate to have this really nice footage that someone has sent me and not be able to use it because someone was holding the camera vertically. So please, if you're taking footage, doing a walk around of your sled, or if you're doing a walk around like Brian did at a vintage snowmobile show, please be sure to hold the camera horizontally for a wide shot like that, and then email me and let me know what you've got, and I would love to see it. I'd love to share it on the program. If you're like me, you love taking a look at that stuff. Yeah, that's probably why you're here. And the more of this we can get, the more of a community we can make this, where it's something where we're all sharing things, and this can just be a trading post of sorts where people can share things, share information. With that in mind, I also need to tell you that here in the East, we've gotten a lot of snow over the last week or so. And our friends at where's the graphic? Our friends at the Lancaster Motel, the trails have been open there for a while and groomed and in nice shape, but they've just gotten plenty of nice snow this week. So the trails are in perfect shape. And I need to tell you that the Lancaster Motel in historic Lancaster, New Hampshire, is offering a 2-for-1 special right now for the month of February. You can get 2 nights for the price of 1 if you go during the week. There's plenty of parking for your vehicle and your sleds and your trailer and the whole thing. You're literally right on the trail. The rear of the motel is right on the trail. The trail goes right through there. Now, you're also in historic Lancaster, where you are just a short walk away from Crane's Snowmobile Museum. So you can mix some trail riding with a visit to Crane's Snowmobile Museum, which we were just talking about a few minutes ago. That museum is 50 by 100 feet with over 100 vintage historic sleds in there. Now, if you're planning to go to Crane's Museum during your trail ride at the Lancaster Motel, you do need to call ahead. Once you've booked your room at the Lancaster Motel, call ahead to Crane's Museum and schedule your time to go in there, because it is by appointment only. While you're in Crane's Museum, be sure to check out the corner of the museum that has all of the plaques on the wall from the inductees in the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. And then the other quick thing I need to tell you about Lancaster is Lancaster is home of the first snowmobile club in America, founded in 1964. So if you have interest in riding on some of the earliest trails in America, this is the place to go. All you have to do is contact the snowmobile club in Lancaster, the Snowdrifters Club, and ask them which of those trails are the legacy trails, the early trails that people used to ride back in the day. Now, mind you, these trails are maintained in a much better fashion than they were back in the day. Instead of being a single wide trail, they're now a double wide trail, and they're groomed to a modern specification. But still, these are some of the earliest trails that were ridden in the East back in the 60s. It's just a great place to go if you're wanting to combine some history with your trail riding. Now, 2 things you need to do if you want to book this 2-for special, or if you wanted to, you can also rent a room by the month. If you're living down country and you want to tow all your gear up and leave it there, you can rent the place by the month, rent a room by the month, and all your gear is up there. You just come up every weekend and you don't have to tow everything and have all your suits and helmets and everything. But what I was going to tell you, there's 2 things you need to do if you want to take advantage of this 2-for special. Number 1, you need to have a valid card from a snowmobile club. It could be your local club, or what you also might want to do is join the Lancaster Snowdrifters Club. That way you've got a card from the first snowmobile club in America. That's something you could frame on the wall and then keep it as a keepsake for years to come, that you're a member of the first snowmobile club of America. So that's a way to satisfy that requirement of having to show a card that you're a member of a snowmobile club. The second thing you need to do is you need to tell them that you were referred to them by yours truly. These are good friends of mine, both at the motel and the museum. You see my name at the bottom of the screen. Just let them know that you were referred to them by Mike at vintagesnowmobilelovers.com. So those 2 things, if you do those 2 things, you can take advantage of that 2 nights for the price of 1 offer on weekdays through the month of February. And I hope you take us up on that and do some trail riding in Lancaster. Okay, so where were we in the program? We have Ben Perry's 1981 Ski-Doo Citation 4500. Now, Ben just happens to be the son of my girlfriend. Let's take a look. This was back in 2017. We just gotten home from the races. It was low light, but we managed to take a video. Let's take a look. So that's the 377, right?
Yeah, it's the
Single carb?
twin cylinder single carb.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. There's like a little toolbox right there?
I'm not sure. That's just I don't know what that was for originally. I think, yeah, there's extra belt, and I guess there's a plug wrench in there. I didn't even know that.
Sweet. That's cool. So an 81 Ski-Doo Citation 4500. Very nice. Daisy's gonna be famous now. You famous? Huh, baby? You famous? Hi, baby girl. Yeah, that's cool. So that was Ben Perry's 1981 Ski-Doo Citation 4100. And incidentally, that dog that this video made famous, if you could call it that, sadly, that dog has passed away. Daisy passed away a couple of years ago, which is a very sad thing. She was a great dog, and she is very much missed. So let's see what's next on the program here. Last but certainly not least, we have Mark Welch's Arctic Cat collection. Now, this is footage that Mark shared with me a few years ago for another project I was doing. But let's take a look at his cats. Now, don't you just miss the days when leopard print seats were cool? And they were, man. Those seats were so cool. You know, you look at them now and it's like, oh, what were they thinking? But they were cool in the day, man. I miss that. Let me see what you guys think. Because if I think if Arctic Cat were to bring back leopard skin seats, it would just, I don't think anyone would feel it today. And I'll give you an example, and I'll pose this as a question too. I love the early 70s when Arctic Cat had the purple trim on their sleds. I just love the days when they had the purple. That being said, Cat has brought back purple several times over the years. I think they brought it back in the 90s for a while. They had kind of purple trim on their sleds, and they've got purple trim on their sleds right now. And what do you guys think? Do you feel that? I hate to say it, as much as I love Cat, I'm not feeling the purple. Not in the 90s, not feeling it now. It just, it was only cool once, I guess. It only worked once. Maybe it's just me. What do you guys think? Cat bringing back purple in the 90s, bringing it back now. Does that work for you? Did it only work in the early 70s? I don't know. This Jack might be commenting on those sleds earlier. Either the John Deere or these sleds here. And let me remove the comment. It's blocking the thing here. He might be commenting on these. But if you have an idea of what the value of these sleds would be, or that John Deere, please leave it in the comments. And as I mentioned before, you are welcome to leave items for sale, items wanted, anything that you'd like to post that is relevant to vintage snowmobiles. Please post it in the comment section and come back a few days later, because for the next week, this video will continue to get many views and many comments. So you may make a comment, or you may see a comment in there, and if you come back a few days later, you may see responses to it that might be of interest to you. So feel free to use this comment section as a trading post and a message board, and anything you like, as long as you keep it clean and to keep it about vintage snowmobiles. So I believe that's all we've got tonight. I apologize if I'm a little bit distracted tonight, just awfully tired, but the show must go on. It's got to happen regardless of how this guy is feeling. So with that, I thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this. If you like what you see, please come back every week. We do this every Thursday night at 9 p.m. And also, if you're liking what you see, if you could share this either on your own profile or on the profile of a friend who you think might be interested in this, you can also share it with them as a private message too. Anything you can do like that to help get the word out will help to grow this podcast. And for doing that, I thank you so much. I thank you in advance for doing that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us tonight. Tune in next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I thank you in advance for joining us next week. Let's take a quick look at the Mad Ramps product.
It's the ultimate combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The newest way to load, unload, and transport your ATV or UTV. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Made in the USA and engineered for strength and durability. Maneuver through tight places and over rugged terrain with plenty of ground clearance. No licensing, no ongoing maintenance costs, and no storage hassles like trailers. Won't slip or move like conventional ramps. Free up more cargo space in the bed of your truck. Securely connects to your truck's receiver hitch. Easily extends for safe loading and unloading. Seamlessly retracts for highway and off-road travel. DOT approved in all 50 states and Canada. Quickly disconnects in under a minute. A unique space-saving storage system. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Go farther. Go faster. Go safer.
When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs. When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs.